Good evening and welcome to the Roxy Bios. It's Roxy and Shannon here on a Tuesday evening. Good evening, Shannon.
Good evening, my dear.
How is the weather out your way?
It is oddly hot.
Oddly hot. It's been a tad chilly over here on the East Coast today.
Oh,
If
I'd
this is your
take chili. I would take chili over this any day.
if this is your first time joining us, Shannon is on the West Coast in the U.S. I am on the East Coast in the U.S. We are almost completely and diagonally one coast to the other away from each other. So our timing right now is we like to compare weather because mine has been cool and hoodie in the evening, t-shirt in the day. Is kind of what mine's been. You
Well,
still here,
that's kind of
Shannon?
nice. Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you were done explaining.
Well, I thought the chat overlay was going to come up here, but it may be like the rest of the internet right now. Half of it's not working. Have you seen those reports, Shannon?
Yes, I have. And it's affected a lot of businesses, banks, certain people and their accounts, but not everybody.
Well, the things at which I've not been too much down the rabbit hole today because it is too much to get down into sometimes because they're being crazy lately when the information that they've put out there about some of the stuff. I saw today one of the ladies said that she woke up Sunday and her bank card wouldn't work, her bank app wouldn't work, and her internet was intermittent. And come to find out, it was all based off of a outage at the Amazon data center.
I didn't even know that they actually provide a platform for businesses to use, like for their computer systems.
I didn't
But
either.
and I just found that out yesterday because my husband informed me on that. Because I wondered why so many businesses were going down, like which particular internet systems they are using for, or platforms, I should say, for their um, programs. Gosh, I'm having a hard time talking. But it turns out that Amazon is a pretty big provider in that there are only four, and Amazon is one of them. Pretty bizarre.
Yeah, and you have one outage there, and it affected everything from ring cameras to bank accounts to all kind of stuff. Internet, like we use the Life 360 because of my daughter's occupation. She's on the road a lot, and it's just a safety thing. And it wasn't working. I mean, there was all kind of stuff that wasn't working from one Amazon data center being down. That's a little scary.
Yep. And to me, it seems like there's been a few of these test runs because I know there was another situation very similar several months back because it affected my stepfather's business that he works for, and a lot of other ones, including banks, just like the same thing. And, you know, we have these programs that are being shut off and things with the guise of the government shutdown or whatever, but more and more things are getting shut down. And what the reasoning behind that is a very interesting rabbit hole, but I digress.
Well, it's a lot, but just can't get caught up in it. But yeah, it definitely has caused some disturbances. It's something to keep an eye on. But I guess our total subject tonight is: have you been back to Mall World?
Well, I know I have, although I'm still having a hard time remembering it or having any kind of coherent knowledge that this is what's going on, like the lucid dreaming kind of thing. And it's kind of odd because this is not a problem I've had before. It's never been a thing. And I know I've had severe insomnia in the last couple of weeks. And I'm
Mhm.
wondering if that has something to do with it. And if these are attacks because, they don't want, you want to block us off from some things. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have not been able to get back since the other night when I told you that someone was there with me. That's the last time I've been.
Did you
Like, not,
ever find out
mm,
who that was?
nope. I was standing in line with someone, and the clothing they were wearing was very distinct. But it's like we're standing shoulder to shoulder, waiting in line to get somewhere to something. And I know what that was, but the other person will too. That's why I kind of left that out. But I'm standing beside them, and I don't recognize them, but I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they know that I know that both of us are there, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after that, I woke up. I don't remember much after that. I don't remember if I ever completed what I was there to do. I just woke up, and I've not been back since then. I've not dreamed a single thing since that moment,
See, this is
which
what
is,
I'm saying. This is a direct attack, I feel, because we're starting to. I mean, not just the fact that all these people are connecting the dots that we all go to this space, whether it has anything to do with the Gateway program, it may be so much more expansive than just that. But the fact that people like you and me and a few others are questioning things, or just stating that they're going to take control, or stating, to call out in the name of Jesus to get out of these things. It's like they don't want us to get that out to the rest of these people who are really wanting to explore this more. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I don't know. And the more I think about it and talk about it, and you sit down and you have that hard conversation with yourself, I truly believe this may have been where they were trapping all of us. If this was some type of training ground, this was where they talked us into going, so to speak. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was a control valve.
Now, I have a question for you.
Hmm.
In a way, um, do you feel that understanding and knowing more about this and getting more clarity has changed your abilities during your waking state in reality? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have noticed, let me give you a little tiny bit of background of what I'm talking about. Like an example, I haven't really been able to sing out loud by myself, even. Like, my voice has just been kind of cut off, even from my own private self and world. Like, I'll use it for recordings or specific purpose, but it's been really hard for me to even write music or have anything to do with that entertainment world at all. And a lot of my clairvoyant and in the clair stuff, things had kind of, I wouldn't say they'd quieted down, but I would say now they are exponentially more intense. And it's like these last couple of weeks, understanding this, even though I feel like I've been blocked off in the dream realm, I've been more expansive in what I've my abilities um, and that kind of thing. And my, you know what I mean? How I'm having such a hard time describing things, guys. I do apologize, but you
The
know,
the way it has felt for me since I think I kind of figured out possibly what that is, and that I'm not, totally crazy. Other people have seen it and been there. It gives me a sense that, I don't know, a little calmer, a little more, I don't know how to explain it. Like, when you have a dream that over time kind of repeats and it's so similar, and then all of a sudden you understand you're not the only person having it. And so, okay, maybe I'm not cuckoo when when I'm sleeping. Maybe I'm not as, I don't know. Maybe I think I thought in my head this was like some kind of movie I had created in my head that I kept watching over and over. And now that I realize it's more of a collective thought, possibly, I don't know. It just, I have physically and mentally felt calmer for the past couple of weeks with more clarity. And like, I feel like I've been digging for the truth for so long that it's like, whew, you can stop down that rabbit hole. This, you know what I mean? I can just take a break on that, and it kind of calmed my mind because I knew in my heart that something happened back when we were in school, and it all makes sense now.
Right. See, I've been feeling amplified in things, and I don't know if it's just there's a weight off of me because of how you kind of mentioned that you just feel calmer and not alone. But
Not
things
alone,
have
and you can just let it go for a minute. It's okay. I get it. You know what I mean?
right,
Somebody else understands.
right. But it's interesting. I'm curious as to any if anyone else has been noticing certain things amplified in your waking state and your reality on a day-to-day basis, just kind of throwing that out there because maybe and just the understanding that these things are there and that we do have these things, they're just kind of coming out naturally more and more.
I've seen a lot of change in people's attitudes lately. Like the angry have gotten angrier, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Short tempered. You've either gotten really calm or really short with your temper span. And I'm sorry, guys, I don't know what's going on tonight, but the software does not want to load chat so we can overlay it. So I can't see what you're seeing tonight or saying. But yeah, I felt a difference in how I felt, especially about some situations, that we follow and we kind of keep an eye on in what we do. And there's some of it that used to just, the anxiety of, oh no, this can't be true. That I don't know. Maybe it's coming from a point of acceptance that there's no shock value left to it. I don't know. That makes sense.
Well, too, you're becoming more aware and understanding more of it, and there is a there is a peace with understanding certain things, and that's where your faith grows. Because I mean, here's the thing: is we say a lot that we are not to be fearful, but we all have natural responses as human beings, fight or flight things. There's going to be anxiety and stress in certain situations that you feel out of control with, but understanding helps you to have peace and to rely on your faith, to rely on God instead of whatever man or this material existence is offering.
Yeah, you gotta be steadfast because we've noticed a lot of things that have happened, and like things we didn't question for many years. The two thing with the buildings, and it took us 20 plus years to get to the bottom of questioning that. Nobody questioned it for a long time, and it's just now become evident that we should have been questioning every single one of these operations that our country was involved in overseas. That more than likely there was ulterior motives. And once you start seeing that this is just a big game of chess for other people, it puts a little perspective on it. They're going to tell you what they want you to know to keep their the best hand they can have sitting at the table playing cards. And
Yep.
I feel like I've spent a lot of time digging for the truth, and I really feel like it's time to stop digging and start doing something. Even if that's only spreading the word. But there are more and more people waking up to what reality really is every day.
And on that note, too, there are those who are falling deeper and deeper asleep. In the Bible, it does say that men's hearts will be hardened. And, this kind of goes on with the separation of the wheat and the tares, which we know has already begun. But we have to stay strong with what we are and who we serve and have peace with that, because this all may be out of our control. These things must come to pass. That's just the way it is. But we ultimately know in the end who it is that we serve. The God that we serve has our back for eternity. And that's where we shouldn't have fear of dying in his name or dealing with these things. But we are going to have to fight against our natural instincts, our fleshly instincts on some of these things, and that's a hard thing. It is an inner battle that we all have in one way or another. And so just knowing that more and more people are waking up, having the strength that there is a community of more people who are willing to stand up for their faith and be steadfast and to understand that these things have a spiritual context to it is amazing. But we got to also be aware of those others whose hearts are hardened and want to stay asleep, because they're going to have an effect on your everyday life. And you got to just keep in your strength and your armor. Gosh, I feel like I've said the armor thing a lot lately.
I think it's a meaning of we all need to be prepared for what may come our way, but not fear it. Just be prepared. Um, what was it? My daddy used to say, "Hope for the best and prepare for the worst." That's the best way I can put it. But we'll shift gears off of that a second. Shannon and I have been texting back and forth all day long, which is nothing unusual for me and Shannon. You would not
Right.
believe that we are as far apart as we are, because I know we talk probably 15 times a day. But what were you telling me about this proposition thing that's fixing to go on over there on the West Coast?
So I'm sure a lot of you are aware of what happened in Texas with the redistricting stuff. I can't remember actually the outcome of that, to be honest. Like, I'll just be upfront with that because I didn't pay as much attention to it. But it's happening here in California, and we're about to come up here in November on elections for this particular proposition, which is, it's like the start of a succession from the union. The redistricting stuff is trying to separate us from the federalization of things. And ironically, some big names and faces in the political world are really trying to push hard for yes on this. And what I find interesting is, if anybody has seen the movie Civil War, there were some things that propagated the Civil War. And one of those things happened to be the succession of California, Texas, and Florida. And the other one being that the president in this film decided on a third term. So I just find there are a lot of parallels happening right now as we speak in trying to push the succession for some of these states from the Union, which honestly, in the end, we're all going to be the one world government sectors and continent structures and yada, yada, yada. But the fact that in this film, they're very clear to state these are the things that pop off. What happens here in the Civil War front is
Yeah, I haven't seen
happening
that one
now.
yet. I remember it coming out, but I never watched it. Which, like I said, if it's not a specific show I'm going to search, I don't do much TV. I don't even have the patience anymore to sit there because you got to remember when you're watching something, what service is on. Is it on the Hulu? Is it on the Prime? Is it? You got to have this pay. It's worse. It's worse than that satellite company ever thought of being.
Well, and
Trying to keep
here's
up with TV, and I
right. Here's the thing. It was really hard for me to actually watch that movie. They make it very difficult. You have to have a specific um subscription to one specific channel, which I don't want to pay for, you know, like I don't need 50 different channels or whatever apps to see stuff. But it is it's very hard to come across right now. If you didn't go and see it in the theaters or have that specific Paramount, I think subscription, you can't find it. I couldn't even like pirate it, guys. Okay, yes, I tried to pirate it. It did not work.
Shannon, now what are you doing? Come on, now.
Hey, I'm just being honest. And it didn't work. So obviously it wasn't a good idea. But, you
Hang it out
know.
there, girl. I do not care. Hang it out there. Hello, Oregon. I know I haven't seen it, and there's I think you've given me one that I need to watch. The one about the glowing
Oh,
TV,
girl, you talk about
and the
mall
lady
world.
that fixes my back. She gave me a series to watch, and I don't know. I'm not a sit still person. I can't. If I get still, my brain starts like I don't know. It's you know what I mean. It's like it takes off, and I can't focus on the TV because if I'm still that long, my brain is like on 9 different theories out there. Like,
Well,
I need to make a list of what I need to go research.
well,
Willie told me
technically,
the other day I needed a big cork board with all the
right.
papers and the strings to keep up with all of it.
You know that is my future decoration ideas for my room. I might drive Andy crazy, but it would make me happy.
Well, and see where mine is, I've got when I'm at the house. I'm not at the house tonight, guys. I'm at the farm. But I have the black and purple. Well, if you turn my chair the other way, there's a whole empty wall over there. And we have this, Wayne got it from the building supply. It's not very thick. It's like quarter-inch thick, but it's like this thinner insulation type board. So he tacks that to the wall, and then I can put all my decor on top of it. When I get ready to take it down, it's like a whole backboard. You just take it down, get another one, and just put cork on top of it. Because I'm telling you, I can't keep up with everything anymore. Because all of a sudden you're like, oh, that matches over there.
Exactly. I will say though, with that one movie I did suggest, it's almost impossible not to sit and just go, "What in the heck?" Because it's one of those where it occupies your thought process so intensely because it connects so many dots and is weird enough to where it's you forget you're sitting there
Well,
forever.
once in a while, I watch Ian Carroll because he was somebody that I started following because he would take a picture in the grocery aisle and show you what companies owned what section of the shelf and which one were like mom and pop. And when you'd pick them up, they had the least ingredients in it and stuff.
Right.
But he uses this app that kind of does what we're talking about, the corkboard string theory, but it does it all in an app. And I downloaded the app the other day, but I just ain't found the time to go and play with it. I think I'd rather see it, like you're saying. I
Yeah.
need to put it up there and see it,
I'm
which
old
then
school.
constitutes the fact I got to buy a printer.
Right, I'm old school. And then again, you'd have to, well, you probably wouldn't have that issue, but I'd have to sit there and learn the tech and get all of it figured out and take the time to upload everything in. And I'm like, shoot, I could have written that down real quick and stuck it on my wall in like a minute. Old
See
school.
that? And my first thought was Post-it notes. Post-it notes and push pins up under headings, like a visual spreadsheet with the string is where my brain went to begin with.
See, maybe
But then I'm like, I don't know.
we should have been detectives.
We should have been. I'm telling you, Daphne and Velma,
Yep.
we should have been detectives. I honestly, for a long time, when I after cancer treatment, it took me probably 6, 8 months before I could get up and go to the grocery store and stuff like that by myself. I spent a lot of time on the couch, and I got hooked on one of those detective shows. It was like Discovery Channel. It's 24 Hours, I think was the name of it. And it was like the real 24 hours after a major crime happened, and it followed these detectives. And I'm like, you know what? I could get into that. I could do that right there.
Right? I know. I constantly think this, and I love like the who done it kind of mysteries, and I've always been a nerd like that.
Yeah, I've always been a Scooby Doo nerd.
Yeah.
My kids got me a Scooby Doo mug the other night, and by the way, it does not drink well. It looks fantastic sitting on my counter, but it does not drink well. It has a square mouth on it. You cannot drink coffee from a square mouth cup in the shape of a
I'm
minibus.
sure it would be a lovely pencil and pen holder.
It's over, which my son actually bought me another one the next night. And so it's on its own little like coffee table with my little miniature coffee maker over there that I've been drinking copious amounts of Black Rifle coffee, who is not a sponsor, by the way, but it is fantastic. Fantastic. Veteran owned, fantastic coffee. I don't know a lot about the company, but the coffee is delish.
Coffee.
And I only drink coffee during cold weather, and I only drink 1 cup a day, but I want it to be Black Rifle now for, like, ever.
Oh, I wish I could say I could put the caffeine down, just have 1 cup of caffeine a day. That would be so lovely. That's one of the things I'm trying to work on in my life.
I know, girl, I love me some Mountain Dew, knowing good and full well I should not be drinking that and that it's bad, but I ain't gonna pretend that I don't, 'cause I do.
Well, let's kind of just mention that for a second. You know, Roxy and I are both on the same page, as it is important to come as you are and to not fool people into thinking that we are some kind of righteous, perfect people who do not have our own downfalls, our own struggles that we're working with. And we're doing that with God. And that's okay. God, that's his process and it's his will. We shouldn't expect anybody to just automatically be perfect and give it up, because there is no other perfect person than Jesus. That was the only perfect human being that / God that ever came to this world. So
Hey, Truthco, I see you out there. I see everybody out there. Thank you, guys. Part of the chat is working. I don't know which where it's coming
yeah.
from, but some of it's working. But yes, we want to come as we are. Um, we ain't trying we ain't trying to be nobody we ain't. From a good old Southern girl. I try to use real good English most of the time. I am who I am. I'm a divorced 50-year-old mother of 2 adult children with grandchildren, and been there and done that and got scars to prove it. So I got quite a few of them.
It's just kind of important that we share that we are human just like anyone else, and also for people to understand in the Christian community, because sometimes it, not to be mean about any of this, but sometimes Christians can be the worst and the most judgmental on each other, expecting perfection when you don't possess that yourself. So please bear that in mind before you automatically jump on somebody for something, for coming as they are and being honest about their life and their struggles, because there are plenty of people out there trying to steer you in the wrong direction and claiming to be godlike when they indeed are human just like the rest of us.
Well, as my grandma said, the good Lord made me and he don't make mistakes. So
Amen to
I'm all good with that. And I happen to
that.
be a shorty, so it just means that I reached my potential earlier than everybody else did to 6 foot tall. Because it ain't me. I'm stuck into the low fives. Um
I'm with you. I'm a tiny person.
oh yeah, I'm a tiny person. I'm like 5 foot. Come walking up to some rides at a theme park and you're like, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can.
Yeah.
Four-wheel drive truck is difficult. I need a step stool.
Yeah, we need one
Um,
that we can carry with us everywhere. It'd be lovely.
Willie actually has one for me in the truck because his truck
Nice.
is too big. Truth Code wants to know about your channel, Shannon. Give a shout out to your
Oh,
channel.
it is Children of the Most High. And it is an association with the Supernatural Network. So you can find links to it on the website, or I believe some of them are shared on some of our old shows from the Supernatural show.
And I am gonna be on Shannon's show Thursday night. What time we doing that show,
Yeah,
Shannon?
6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 9:30
30 my
p.m.
time.
your time. Don't ask
Yeah,
me what the
you get
middle ground is.
whoop, whoop,
But
Shannon and Roxy time. Y'all just gonna have to figure it out. If you miss us live, catch us later is all I can say. Because last week we got off the air, it was midnight my time, and I like fell over in the chair and went to
oh
sleep.
my goodness. Well, I feel you because it's like 6, 7 in the morning. Sometimes I'm getting messages from the show group text, and I'm like, I should have turned off the sound.
I try not to text in the group text for the show before about 10 or 11 because I know it is like it is early your time. Because once in a while you've had one of those random thoughts in the middle of the night, and
Yeah.
it's like 2 o'clock my time, and I'm like, "What is she still doing up?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's 3 hours. My bad, Shannon.
Well,
Golly,
I did mention I have insomnia, so I am probably about the time people are waking up on your
well,
end.
I'm a 8 o'clocker. You know what I mean? Like if I get a chance to sleep in at 8 o'clock, I'm usually kind of rustling around, even on Saturday morning. 3 days in the past week, I have slept past 11 o'clock.
Oh, see, that's sleeping in for me, okay? I am not a morning person. If I wake up before 8, it is kind of a miracle. So
I wouldn't say I'm anti-morning. I'm not exactly an angry morning person. I just ain't all smiles and giggles in the morning. Now, you want giggles? This is time of night for giggles because me and Shannon can get a little stupid sometimes, especially on the telephone. We'll be called to have a serious conversation, end up in tears from laughing before we get off the phone. But
yeah,
it's
just the joy of the Lord.
you have to enjoy the the world that we seem to be in sometimes because I'm really beginning to think that these tinfoil hats we might be need to be fashioning them and wearing them every day all day after
I
some stuff I read about. They do all this it's studying the ionosphere up in Antarctica, and we're not going to get into the flat round firmament. We don't even need to get into that conversation. But Antarctica is one of the only spaces that they can study this. And they've figured out how to use that and use that mesh of satellites Daniel talks about. And I'm pretty sure they've got good enough they can almost target individuals in the population.
oh
And
100%.
if they have, I mean, we might need to be putting on our pretty tinfoil hats all the time, folks, because I'm telling you,
I might have a hard time getting through some doors, but
yeah,
it
you
could
may
be
need to
fun.
modify yours a little bit, Shannon. See, I'm thinking like more along the baldy cap and like disguise it under a toboggan.
But this covers my whole body, you see, in
Yeah,
essence.
you're gonna need a redesign, which may not be a bad thing at this point. You know, to cover your whole body in like a mylar suit or something. It's worrisome.
Oh, yeah, I have a tendency to go big, and it's funny because I'm not from Texas. You would think, but I mean, look, I went to a baby shower for my best friend this weekend. It was a costume one because she's into that. So I showed up in my Princess Peach costume that I used to work. Like I actually make money and do stuff in events in that costume, but it's got the biggest hoop skirt ever. And I'm in a tiny little Victorian home in Redlands, and I had to stand outside most of the time.
Yeah,
So,
knock
you
everything off the counter.
know, but I love those big. I love it big. I can't. I
See,
don't
I
know.
think if I would have been born when I wanted to have been born, it would have probably been in the early 1900s. Because of, the women still wore the big dresses
Oh,
and you
I
didn't leave
love
home
it.
without being dressed.
Oh, I love it.
And I don't know, that's where they started so much propagandizing, I reckon, to tell
Right.
us that we needed to be, um, that I don't know. Willie and I were talking about it last night, and you think about the fact that in the 40s, 50s, a one income household, the husband went out to work, mom stayed at home with the kids, she took care of the house and the kids. All of a sudden, we have a war, and women go to the factory, and then it starts taking two incomes to take care of the same household.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've taken the kids out of the home with mom, and you're putting them in public education, which we know how I just
Yeah, how
adore
great
the
that is.
public education system we have. I
Mm-hmm.
do, YouTube. I adore it. Um,
I can't take that seriously.
I can give you a 3,962 page dissertation of how wonderful it is.
I would love for you to publish
We ain't got that kind of paper left in the world. I don't think I'd ever
that.
shut up about the wonders of that system. We can start with economic, financial, all the way up to science experiments on. Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna stop before I go too far. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox. But where was I at before I got lost in that, Shannon?
Oh, that you and Willie were talking about
Oh yeah, the
the
household.
changes.
It was a one income, then it was a two income to have a comfortable household with a couple of kids. And then you went from that to you got they've pushed it to the point that marriages aren't lasting more than a few years, and you got single parents and a single parent working two jobs trying to keep up a barely surviving household. That is not the American dream.
No.
Nothing about that is the American dream. It's controlled. Yeah, that word, the S word,
Mhm.
the yeah, indentured servants,
Yeah.
and that's not a way to live. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And I think the only way that changes is if we stop allowing them to split us as humans with red and blue and white and black and left and right and up and down. And we got to come together and meet in the middle and decide enough is enough.
Well, I think that's important again to remind everybody to stay steadfast in your faith because it's about to get and look, it's already pretty rough, but it's about to get rough, people. So
Yeah,
just be like ready.
be ready, be prayed up, have your armor on, and if you happen to be in mall world, wave at us. I haven't been back. I'm really hoping for silence, or that honestly, I hope I never have to go back there. Now that I think I've realized what it is.
I feel like my prayer right now is for God to intervene in a way that is so grand and so just intense in the mall world for everybody who are still really entrapped into this thing to help them to wake up. This is my prayer every day. If it is not God's will for me to go back in there and shout out in the name of Jesus, I pray that God's will is that He Himself or something, some force that He brings in just gives them a flash chance of, hey, this isn't right.
Well, I think now that we've kind of seeing that we're all doing it, maybe that might have been part of the process. Um, I've definitely had, I'm looking at comments, had recurring dreams of a similar mall world. We've had quite a few on here who have had the mall world experience, and I think Cash, he was the one that said that he sees himself as being naked, but he said nobody else around him seems to realize that he's naked, or either it's unimportant. But he said he feels self conscious. You go there way too often. Yeah, we didn't realize how often we were. There's lots of us that go there, and all you gotta do search Mall World on TikTok or somewhere there's short videos, and you'll see a lot of it. A lot of it is us gifted and talented, or talented and gifted, tag, gate, old program. Yeah, it seems to be like this place they stuck us in to try to keep us from going any further.
Okay, this is why. Okay, sorry. I have a serious revelation that I wanted to tell you the other day, but it's come back. So the reason why that one movie I suggested to you, I saw my TV glow,
Uh-huh.
was something I wanted you to see, was because in that movie it brings about how these things get triggered by specific TV shows or specific movies or things along those lines. And when I had the things happen to me back in 2013 that I mentioned in my testimony, there was a lot of triggering from these TV shows that brought me into these visions and these scenarios. And I noticed that there are times that I watch something before I go to sleep, and that is integrated into the dream realm and triggered into some kind of thing.
That could make sense that there's a fault switch.
Right.
Um,
And you
hey,
find
Cash.
you find that there are specific movies by like the mouse and stuff
Mhm.
that were designed and specifically created for the monarch programs or specific programs. So they are already created to trigger certain alters in your being. So it's playing into your dream world and what you're doing. It really expands the whole concept that these are programs. They call them programs for a reason. But if you notice, if that projects you into dream world, into a certain kind of scenario that's similar to this film that you just watched, that is a program that they're having you work through in that space that you're
See
triggered
that
by.
that makes sense, Shannon. It might explain why you end up in a real estate office or a theme park, or that there's like different destinations dependent upon the trigger. And that I realized a long time ago that they are. I had this theory about YouTube music because every song is tagged, so it can be tracked as to like if it was searched or played, just like any video.
Right.
But if you were to take every song out there and attach a color to it, angry songs were red, love songs were yellow, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you make a color chart of every song that was being played at the moment off of that platform, you could take that color map and see the mood of the area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say you wanted to zoom in, like Southern California, everybody's angry. Well, you just shift their music, because music can completely shift how you feel: happy, sad, mad, glad, just depending on what you're listening to. And if you're listening at random, what they're having you to listen to randomly is not random.
Well, and remember how in the programs that we went through in school, we had the whole binaural beat thing in the hearing tests? Well, there's a lot
Hemisync.
of, yeah, there's a lot of those binaural beats added into music nowadays. When I was really entrenched in the whole new age thing, they were obsessive over the binaural beats in their music. And this stuff is being played in a lot, even just a 30-second little clip. This is why I'm really, really just very staunch on making my own music that's played on my channel, because I know that there isn't subliminal stuff. I didn't add any funky binaural beats to it. It's
Well, we know that energy is frequency and frequency is sound. It all plays together. It is all one, one is all. Vibration, frequency, sound, and how those particles vibrate and combine makes up everything in this world. Metal, glass, blood, water, oxygen. It all depends on how many chemical components you've got and how they vibrate together. So if everything's made of vibration and they can change or alter your mood by changing the frequency and vibration of your music, I mean they can alter all kinds of stuff. And if they've been sticking all of us in mall world and all of a sudden they can turn on something within a trigger, that sounds a whole lot like a Jason Bourne experience to me,
hmm
which is exactly what Charles Manson described, if anybody's ever listened to what he's had to say.
well, too, he mentions that he heard the White Album and he believed many of those songs were speaking to him, and that Helter Skelter especially was all about the race war, and that he needed to start it and help bring about end times. Like, that was his whole
With
basis,
conviction, yeah.
with conviction.
And he was not a dumb man. If you go listen to him speaking, I'm sure as he's been in there for a long time and had read books, he had become more intelligent. But I don't think he was by any means an ignorant man before all this happened. There's a lot of things that happen out there with those people that are wrong, just wrong programs and
Well, too,
experiments and
if you really think about it, like the Beatles, they went from one sound to something completely different and really went into the experimental side of things with so many variations of sounds and frequencies in their songs that didn't make sense at the time to anybody. And plus, not to mention, there's the whole backmasking legend about the
and
Beatles that
and see,
people
I
believe.
remember as a kid, my best friend and her mom had an album. I think it was Sticks. Um, and we were hearing the things about, oh, if you play it backwards, you hear the devil talking, and you hear it back then, you're like, that's just crazy. There's no way. Bet.
It's
Bet.
it's so real. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Little Nicky, but
Yes.
it's okay. Remember the part where they're playing the records backwards and he says, like, oh, everyone expects Ozzy to have backmasking, but play Chicago. And they play Chicago and play that backwards, and it was like straight up demonic. It was like, it just reminds me of that. And it's in music you would never expect too, by the way.
Oh yeah, and
But
back in the 70s, 80s, these artists that they brought up, and like I back in the beginning, I did an interview with somebody who was in the music industry in the rock band, and they tell you about the depraved things that happen. And you've got 20-something-year-olds that are out there living their best rock star life, and you're slinging everything in front of them, more and more depraved availability of things. They're not paying attention. Their lawyers aren't paying attention to what's being done with their music. You just keep them so zonked out of their mind that you hand them a song and tell the monkey to go dance. And that's what happened for a long time. And that's what happens with a lot of people when they go bad or make bad choices, because all they can see in front of them is 10 seconds from now.
yep. And
But
then there
that
was silence.
I have to pull myself back because I know on here we can only say so much about so many things, and I'm like, I want to spit it out. All I can say
It's
is go figure out who owns your major entertainment companies. And if entertainment is how they push a message, regardless of what message would be, they would be doing it without you even knowing it. Because I'll give you this, go look up how many frames per second the human eye can intercept when watching a movie or video. Then look at how many frames per second said film was shot in. Why would you need that many frames per second if the human eye cannot perceive that many? That's because there's extra
Mhm.
things.
Speaking of that, it ties into the lights that we all have. I did just recently see a video of someone who slow motion filmed their house while having all these lights on, and those are also pulsating at an extremely fast rate that you can't detect with your own eye, but it's messing with your brain and your chemistry, guys. And it's
Yeah,
the
we
same with entertainment.
there's a major meteor shower tonight too. I don't know if you can see it over there. I haven't looked at it. I saw something advertised earlier. And there's like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. East time. Yeah, East Coast. Big meteor shower. I don't know about it. I ain't looked into it because I'll be asleep hopefully, so it'll come and go without my knowledge. But yeah, I filmed some more of the orb lights that tend to be here quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and as best you can get them on one of these new phone gadgets I got, and you can see that it looks like a wheel within a wheel that's pulsating and changing shape, and you can see the energy around it. I mean, I've been here a long time. I've looked through telescopes. I've never seen anything like that through a telescope as a kid looking at stars. They just look like a rock with a light. That is not what we're looking at up there.
Well, there is a oh the angels in Enoch, the wheel within the wheel. I think there's even mention of the same kind of thing in the book of Jubilees and things along those lines. And they're they are there. This is a spiritual thing, and if you are noticing any of these things, and you look, a lot of us are older and have spent plenty of time looking up at the stars and know what we remember as kids through to now. And there's so much in our skies now that is just not normal, but so many people have just become normal. It's become normalized in the world that we're not paying attention,
Yeah,
and
and
we
these
just
aren't twinkles. These are like disco balls. I mean, you know what I mean? This is not a little bit of a light variation. Something's blocking the light or
and
it's
there's
light and dark.
movement too, like
Oh, yeah.
weird janky movement that wouldn't be in a star.
Because to begin with, when we first noticed it some time ago, there's a couple of places we've noticed them almost regularly. To begin with, we thought maybe it was a drone off in the distance, or, because sometimes people have what they call property drones. The batteries on the ground, there's a cord leading to the drone. Some of them three-letter agencies. I know that one of the local, enforcement places has one of those. Like if they
Mhm.
want to spy on somebody and they can't get on their property, they drop that battery box and send up the drone, which can look over the top of the trees. We thought maybe that's what it was a few years ago. No, same disco ball, same spot. That's either one heck of a battery or I'm losing my marbles.
Right.
Because like one night last week, there was 20 just in one field of vision. There were 20. Some of them, really bright, some of them dark, but I've never seen stars look like that before.
Yep, me neither.
So, I can't tell you for certain what it is. I know what the Bible says. I know what it looks like. I know it looked like that trophy on his desk. I know it looked like that thing out of the movie Contact with Jodie Foster.
Mhm.
it with a disco light effect, and I've seen them quite a few times, and they'll move. They're stationary. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But one has been almost in the exact same spot for 3 years, and last time I checked, stars move.
Mhm. Yeah, Cash. I remember when the sun was yellow. I
Mhm.
sure do.
Every picture I ever drew in school in the corner, you took the yellow and you actually, like yellowish orange, you had a little bit of orange onto it.
Yeah, I've captured some pictures now of the sun that it's like bright neon pinkish red. It's like it is unreal. It does not look like the sun should.
No, nothing appears as it did when we were children, evidently. And
Yeah.
I understand that there's some childish concept that comes into some of that, and you go back to where you used to live or hang out or whatever. But the stars are the stars. They shouldn't change. You shouldn't have a changed perception of what they are, other than maybe scientifically as you get older. But I look at the same places now through a telescope of a child versus an adult, and them ain't the same things up there. Not to say that some of them aren't, but some of them are not.
Well, just remember NASA means deception in Hebrew.
That's a money funnel. It is a
Hmm.
money funnel. So is that I honestly believe the lottery is myself, but anyway, we ain't got we ain't got time for that rabbit hole to explain from an accounting standpoint what that is a scam.
Oh, and there's a whole like curse that goes along with it and all kinds of fun stuff. It's like, man, the things you hear about people who've actually won it, it's like, do I really want to win the lottery? Maybe not so much.
Well, I mean, the odds are not in your favor,
No.
and you never really hear about the people that did win, and some that do win, they end up in these horrible circumstances, and their life goes horribly wrong. I don't think I've ever seen one of these Lifetime movies where somebody hit the lottery and everything was peaches and cream from there on out.
There has only been one person that I have heard of and actually know who won the lottery out here and used all of that money towards burying children who were unknown and couldn't be buried and built all of these centers for the youth and used that money to help children. Like, she didn't keep any of it for herself, which is very rare. But maybe if
Now,
you could beat the
I ain't
curse
gonna
of
lie. I ain't gonna lie. If I was coming to a large sum of money, I, as a good human being, would want to do good work, for the community and the children and stuff. But there would be signs, there would be signs because I would be like in a whole different. Oh, I'd be driving a new house, and a new business set up properly to create generational wealth.
right.
Because I know I kind of went off a while ago about education, but I don't like to tell anybody anything. I want you to go look. Because if you go look into it, you will learn more from it than me telling you about it. I'm just pointing you in the right direction. I would suggest you go look at the textbooks of what they teach in that system versus what they teach in the schools of the 1% and other faiths and different religions, because their children are taught differently than the US education system. Our system is how they make estimates on how many prison cells they're going to need in 18 years.
Yeah,
So that should tell you what they're teaching our children.
it's pretty obvious, especially now that most of them have bars around them and metal detectors and
Plastic
police
trays and lines.
everywhere. And yep.
Well, and when you dig enough, you realize that those same people that own those same entertainment companies have a great deal of investment in the privatizing of those said prisons. And
Yeah.
if you go and look The same entertainment companies tend to push um, music or things of that nature that will perpetuate upon graduation. Within about 3 years, you'll end up in one of those fine state run organizations where the state taxpayer is paying for the failure of the education system. So
Mhm.
it's just like their war machine. I mean, that's what the education system is. It's an at home war machine. Money, 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 money.
Well, and as I had figured out and come to actually finally realize that yes, they have an entertainment and leadership program in with the gate stuff. So it's not just academics, not just the fancy things that we can do with our abilities, but it's training other type of situations in the world that they want you to be controlled in. And people like me were trained to be in central casting. And if it weren't for God's intervention, I could have been one of those guys.
Well, and the best advice I can give anybody, and I know this is a perfect scenario and it does not work for me. I wish it did. But if you were in a situation where you can homeschool your children, I would do it immediately. Just bring them home. Then you know what they're learning. You can teach them instead of using calculators to learn to balance a checkbook and budget their money and what a mortgage is and how all the interest is charged up front and how splitting your mortgage payment in two payments a month versus one will knock years off of the loan. These are not things, or how to set up trust and LLCs and generational wealth. They're not going to teach our children this in schools because then we're using the information against the powers that be for a better life. So you're going to have to teach that to your kids if you want it taught, because all they're teaching them is this BS is the best nice abbreviation I can come up with for their version of history and science.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
And they'll teach you calculus, but they won't teach you how to balance a checkbook.
yeah, I mean, it, these kids graduate school, they can't change their own tire. They pick up a phone and they figure out somebody to do it for them. Like the other day, my grandson, I bought him a tool set for his birthday. He's like, "What's this for, Nanny?" I said, "Go tear your bicycle apart." He kind of looked at me. I said, "Then you know how to put it back together. When you do that a couple of times and it still works, then we'll buy you a small engine, tear it apart, and put it back together." But it's the figure it out that this generation has lost, because a lot of them, the ones that stay zoned into the phones and iPads all the time, if you try to have a conversation with them, they just go blank. Like if there aren't instructions on YouTube, they're lost.
Oh my gosh. And that's just the thing, too. Like last night, I spent time with my son to make him think and understand how to make a meal for himself with whatever it is that we have, like in the pantry and in the fridge, and that's it. Like, you can't go to the store, we can't go get other things. Whatever it is that we have, let's make a actual substantial meal from this, because this is survival skills. If you don't know how to utilize basics like flour, butter, oil, and meat, or like your basic stuff, and you can't make a meal from that, you're expecting to rely on the drive through or delivery service. There's a big problem, because when the food shortages go down, these kids aren't going to know how to eat.
No. Well, and my 30-year-old son still lives with me. They consider him learning disabled or autistic or whatever. He will forever be a 16-year-old as far as his like responsibility of thought.
Right.
And I told him, I said, "Son, I'm not going to be here one day." So we came to an agreement a few months ago. I said, "Listen, this is your portion of the bills. You are my roommate now. You pay your portion of the bills and you buy your own groceries. You eat what you buy."
Mm-hmm.
And trying to explain to him that just because you had two extra $100 this week because you didn't have a bill to pay doesn't mean you don't. You got to hold on to it because it might rain you out of work next week, and what you gonna eat? And it has been struggle for me personally because I've seen weeks where he's bought, too much of this or not enough of that, and things were getting skinny for him by the end of the week. And it's been really hard to just give guidance and not take control and go, here, let mama fix it.
Right.
But if I don't let
Yeah.
him do it, if something happens to me, he is totally going to be just jam tight, jelly, yeah, messed up. He going to be hungry.
Mhm. Right. And do desperate things and just eat a bunch of food that's not good for you, or it just won't take very good care. And that's just all kids. They don't take very good care of themselves. Like
No, they're showing up to
adults,
school in pajamas.
right? Adults don't take very good care of themselves,
No, you don't have time anymore.
and so it's just kind of one of those things that teaching people and ourselves and all of that to work with the things that we got, and all of that is going to be very beneficial when we can't when we don't want to comply,
You can't
because
push a button anymore and
that
make it happen for you.
yeah, convenience has truly destroyed
Oh, so
society.
humanity, yeah, society, humanity, everything. All right, guys. Well, we have somehow got down this dark,
Right.
which is not usual for me and Shannon. We're usually giggling away by now, but we're gonna let you go for this evening. We will be on Shannon's show Thursday night, 6:30, 9:30, depending on your coast. Do we have a topic, or what are we doing Thursday night, Shannon?
I'll have the solid topic more by Wednesday, because I'm kind of going back and forth in two particular subject matters. So there,
Okay.
I will say this though. I might even integrate both topics, but I wanted to throw out there to keep an eye on the things that are happening to your ground. There's just a lot of earthquake and weird stuff going on, not just here in California, but out near you guys and in the middle of the country. And there's a
A little
part of me
strange.
that just is kind of like, all right, guys, my prepper mode's getting in like hardcore right now. So there'll be a little bit of prep stuff in there, but
Absolutely. It never hurts to have a prep conversation.
right. And that being said, there's still going to be another subject matter I'm contemplating putting in there, but that's probably going to be a good part of the talk, is some good prep info and how to handle things when everybody around you is crazy, and
When
how
they're
to keep
losing
calm,
it.
right? So
Keep
it'll be a
calm.
nice prepper class, guys.
All right. So Prepper Thursday. Bring your
Prepper
Mad
Thursday.
Max outfit, Shannon. We will
And
Mad Max this Thursday night.
that's right. And Roxy's going to be sharing a whole bunch of do it yourself remedies I already know right
Oh yeah,
now.
I'll pull
So
some info
get out,
graphics on that for all of us.
yeah,
We'll talk about that. Some
get
good
out your
things you can find in
notepads.
your own yard. Get out a
Yeah.
notepad. Daniel's on tomorrow, Logic for Authority. He'll have his normal Wednesday show and his Octoberthon, or what is it, Superthon he's having. Don't forget about 10 full hat contest. We're fixing to close up taking entries and put up the gallery for voting here in about a week, I think. Any other subjects? There's a good prize for that. If you're not in it, there's going to be a nice prize package. It keeps growing.
I just wanted to mention that Roxy has her own website, and you guys need to go check it out because it's awesome. I mean, we also have the Supernatural show website, but Roxy also has her own. And if you guys have not liked, shared, and subscribed yet to Roxy, I highly suggest you do, because in this channel, there's just a wealth of information and giggles. So you can't
Well, and
lose.
I've started some mornings when I'm doing research. I've started making some shorter 5, 10 minute videos and putting them up on like some of the things that there's some things I do every day. But yeah, started putting a few random thoughts up on that. And I've been posting in my community a little more, trying to stick a little more to our YouTube family because they have been a pretty good group. So I'm trying to focus my attention on you guys. So if there's a topic out there you want me to bring up or Shannon bring up, let us know. We're the Tuesday Thursday gang. We generally try to tag team it together. You guys seem to like us our giggles together.
Sorry it wasn't as many today, but sometimes you gotta be serious, I suppose.
Yeah, the world's kind of in a little bit of a serious mode, and we're in thinking mode at the moment. But Helene Survivor Asheville. Oh, I see that, Truth Co. I hope everything's finally getting somewhere that y'all were in a livable situation. You guys seem to got forgotten in the news, but our prayers are with
Yeah.
you. Our prayers are with everybody out there. Stay prayed up. Keep your armor on. Say your gratitudes in the morning, and we'll see you Thursday. I love you and good night.